Hello, thank you. Good morning. It's amazing to introduce this guest to you because I'm excited. I know everyone I talk about, I get excited, but she is off the charts. One person that I'm totally stoked to know, to come in contact with. And I honestly believe God planned this for us to meet. And her name is Katharine Giovanni. First of all, story, I get excited and I jump into it and I don't introduce the show. My name is Rhoda, and welcome on Love, Forgive, Live podcast. I am excited to introduce this guest because she's a sister. More than a sister, she's more or less a soul teacher. That's what I'll call it, a soul teacher. And that she's an author of the book, The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power. This book, honestly, I would call it a how-to book to forgiveness. So she's here to show us how to forgive, because I hear this in therapy with clients and my residency. And it's amazing how many people ask this question. Everybody says forgive. How do you forgive? I used to think it was a question that you ask just for the sake of asking. Well, they said forgive. But that's a powerful question. It could take years of sorting out how to access these answers. And Katharine is here to give us some insight into this hard, when I say hard work, forgiveness is the toughest work you would have to do here on planet Earth, this Earth school. Katharine, welcome. Take it away.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
it. You're welcome. You're welcome. What sister?
So people are scared of the word forgiveness. Am I correct? They see that word. They're looking at the title of your show. They're listening to this podcast and they're thinking, I don't want to. Yes. And everybody on the planet, your teacher, your parents, your pastor, everybody says you have to forgive, but nobody teaches us how. They just say, do it. Okay, well, what if I don't want to? Right?
I love that. What if I
don't want to? Okay, that's fair. If we're talking on a 10 scale, with 10 being unforgivable dumpster fire and 1 being easy peasy, everybody watching this and listening to this right now is thinking of their number 10 person. And they don't want to forgive that person because you got hurt. And it may not even be appropriate to forgive that person. Yes. So I'm here to tell you that you don't have to forgive that person. Ignore what everybody else is saying. At the end of the day, you don't have to. Now, why am I saying this to you? Because there's a 1,000 other people you can forgive first before you even get to that dumpster fire. Yes. And there is a way to forgive the dumpster fire. We'll get into that in a minute.
I love how you put it, dumpster fire, because yes, there are some things that we have experienced here on planet Earth that is so incredibly hurtful. When I mean hurtful, it's gut-wrenching hurtful and unimaginable pain.
Think of the dumpster. We can talk about your number 10s. We can get that out of the way first if you want. The unforgivable people hurt you. So what I'm telling you is, just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. I probably don't. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean you were correct. You weren't. Just because I forgive you and just because I have a bad memory about you, maybe other members of my family are looking at me like I'm from the planet Mars because they have good memories about this person. Okay, with all due respect, I don't care about your family. I mean that with all the love in my heart. I don't care about them. I care about you. And your memories are the ones that matter to me. Forgiveness means you want them out of your head. It's selfish. You do it for you. Forgiveness means you want to stop having them hang out rent-free in your head. You want to evict them. That's what forgiveness means. And the reason I say it's a dumpster fire is because maybe, let's use a really horrible example. Maybe you were raped. You don't want to forgive the rapist. That's fair. That's fair. Nobody does. But there's other things you can forgive. You can forgive the park. You can forgive the building. You can forgive the bed. You can forgive the table, the chair. You can forgive the people that walked by and ignored you. So many other things you can forgive. So in my world, forgiveness means, and stay with me on this, you can forgive people, places, and things. And what people do, and the reason people don't have a nasty habit of not staying forgiven is because you didn't forgive the energy.
Oh, please say that again. Say that last part again. The energy.
You didn't forgive the energy. I have a science chapter in the book for all those naysayers out there, so I am backed up by science. But Einstein proved energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just simply transforms. So what happens when you get angry? You think that the anger energy is going to leave your mouth and magically dissipate into the universe around you. Sadly, it does not. It hangs around your energy field. And for anybody listening to this broadcast, I'm holding up a very opaque coffee cup and I'm about to put it in front of my face. It's a visual. If you want to see the visual, hop over to YouTube. There you go. When I first get angry, I can hold it off. Maybe it's better this side. I can hold it off to the side. Now look at my body language. You and I can still have a conversation. Yes. I can see people coming and going. I can go out to a restaurant. I can see a movie. I can go out with my friends because my anger is off to the side. It's manageable. I can deal with it. But the longer I hold on to this anger, the more my arm is going to hurt. And eventually, now look at my body language. I'm using two arms to hold up this mug of anger, right? And if I hold on to it too long, now look at my body language. I can't have a conversation with you. I mean, I can, but the conversation I'm going to have is all anger. I'm going to talk about it, breathe about it, and my friend circle is all of a sudden going to get very small. Why? Because I'm negative all the time, and all I'm talking about is this particular memory. And all the other memories in there. I'm now all of a sudden, I'm talking about all the bad things that happened to me. And who wants to be around somebody like that? So your friend circle just goes down. You start to get depressed. How do you put it down? Forgiveness.
Oh, wow.
It's going to lighten up your energy field because until you forgive it, it's going to hang around.
Yes.
So you forgive the energy and you can forgive people, places, and things. I forgave 1974. The whole year, all at once.
Wow.
Why did I forgive 1974? No, I forgave the people within 1974 and the energy around it all. I did do that. But 1974, I was in the 8th grade in grammar school, and I was getting horribly bullied in school. My parents were both alcoholics, getting a horrible divorce, although my father was sober by that point. And I tried to commit suicide. Wow. So I decided, and I floated through life for the next 10, 15 years as that teenager, the angry teenager draped in black. You know these kids. I was one of those kids.
Yes.
And I kind of floated through life until my mother finally got sober, because even my mother, she fell down a flight of stairs and broke her hip. And even my mother can't get a gin and tonic in the hospital, although, she probably tried, but even she can't get alcohol in a hospital. So she dried out. We sent her to rehab. And I had 3 beautiful, healthy years with her. And we were as close as sisters. And then she died of breast cancer. Oh, so I started to float again. And I realized that if I didn't change my life, I was going to die. So I quit drinking, and I've been sober now 34 years. So I quit drinking myself.
Ooh, that's huge.
And thank you. And I changed my life. And that's really what started the forgiveness path. And in 2020, some friends of mine, we kind of came up with this new method of forgiveness. That seems to be working for an awful lot of people.
Yes,
and there's a step-by-step process in the book, as well as worksheets for those of you who are overachievers.
Yes. Oh, there's a lot of us out there, and always wanting, like, I want to see it. I want to, and because some people are visual that way, they want to.
They are visual.
Yeah.
But Don't start with your number 10s because they're a bear. You don't want to forgive them. You don't have to. It's like these motivational speakers, with all due respect, they'll say you got to break through your wall, jack the hammer through your wall. Here are some tools that will get you through that wall. Okay. 1 minute, please. How about we take out a few bricks out of the wall, walk around the wall, keep going, and circle back later when we're strong enough to actually deal with it. That's what I want you to do with your number 10s. I want you to forgive your 1s, 2s, and 3s. That person who cut you off in aisle 5 of the grocery store yesterday and pissed you off, you can forgive that person. The person that stole your lunch at work the other day, I hope you can forgive that person. Forgive that person. The easy ones. The person in grammar school that cheated off your paper and you knew they did it. That's grammar school. You can forgive that person. It was a long time ago. The easy ones. And once you forgive the easy ones, you're going to start feeling better. You're going to start noticing things. Why? Because you're not going to be noticing all your anger anymore. You're going to be noticing. You're going to be paying attention. You might lose some weight. There's a reason to buy the book. Why will you lose some weight? Because you're going to pay attention to yourself and what you're eating. You might find your significant other. You might get some more money. There you go. Why? Because you're paying attention. You'll see a new job opportunity. You'll see something to invest your money in, something. You'll notice things.
I completely agree.
And that's why you want to start, but do start with the number 1s and work your way up to the 10s, because the unforgivable ones are a bear, but this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And I do suggest that you start with only 10. When I came up with this method back in 2020 with my friends, I really am an overachiever.
See?
I've written 12 books. And so I got my list together and I must have written 50, 60 things down, right? And I thought, I'm going to blast through this list. It's going to be like a Band-Aid, man. I'm going to rip it up and I'm going to be a brand new person tomorrow. And I did it right before I went to bed, which everybody should do this before your bed, because your body heals itself when it's sleeping. So I did that. And then, sadly, I spent the next 3 days in bed with what everybody thought was a stomach flu. It was not the stomach flu. The anger needed to leave my body, and I'd forgiven too many people. When you forgive somebody, your body, you're going to feel something in your body. My son, one of my sons, his shoulders feel lighter, and he says it's weird, but his shoulders feel lighter. Some other people get really tired. Some people get hungry. Some people, to be very polite and delicate about it, are in the bathroom for a while. You didn't eat some bad fish. It's your body trying to clear out the anger energy. And I got science to prove that, what I'm saying.
Oh, I believe that. And it's very powerful, because 2 things came in mind when you were speaking, or an image. 1, you were speaking of maybe take a break and then walk around.
Yep.
And that made me think of, how do we build foundations?
That's right.
We do it a little bit at a time for everything.
One little piece at a time.
One little piece at a time in order to see the structure.
Yeah, it's like a breadcrumb trail.
Yes. So why is it that when we need to forgive, or when we decide to forgive, we want it done immediately? It took years, time, to put all those pieces together to build.
But you want it done immediately because you're thinking of your number 10 person who's renting out all the space in your head. So you want to forgive them, but you can't, and you try and you fail, and then you say, this is stupid, so you don't want to do it anymore.
Yes. And then again, something happens again. They were like, I really need to, this is taking too much of my time.
You talk to them, they're a family member, or you see them at a function at a barbecue, and then you take one look at them and you're off again.
Yeah, you're a mess.
You're a mess. Yeah. Now, the sad part about being a human being, my friend, is you want them to be as mad and irritated as you are. And quite frankly, they're probably not giving you a
Yes.
second thought, man. They're living their life. They're having fun, going to the new Marvel movies.
Yes.
And you're
Yes.
sitting there in your house miserable, and
Yeah.
they don't care. They're not thinking about you at all. And you just want to look at them and say, couldn't you just be miserable with me for like 5 minutes and make me feel so much better?
And that is true, because when a child is upset,
yeah,
and they watch the parent just dilly-dallying, going about their stuff,
Yeah.
whatever they have to do, that child gets even more angry.
Sure they do, because they want you to be miserable. Misery loves company.
With them. And it's the same way when we're going through something with someone who has hurt us, and then we look at them, we're like, you're just free. I don't like that. I want
That's
you
right.
held in this bondage as I am feeling right now. I want you to invest in this energy that is dragging me down to drag you down just for a second.
Now, why do they say, and I have an answer for this, why do they say anger is toxic? That's another thing that everybody throws at you and say, well, anger is toxic. It's going to make you physically sick. While that's very true, how? I'm a big believer in knowing how to do things. I'll do it if you just tell me how and why. I'm kind of a curious little bear. On the internet, and I am not going to say this gentleman's name correctly. I apologize. It's on the internet. If you Google Japanese researcher water experiment, you will find this and the picture.
Oh, no.
This guy is named Matsumoto, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that book.
I will dumb this down for everybody listening. This is a Japanese researcher who studied water, the molecules in water. He took one container of water and spoke love to it, put it in the sun, did beautiful things, treated it with kindness and love. The other one, he said nasty things. He swore at it. He berated it. He told it was horrible, hateful things. Then he put it under a microscope. The water he put under a microscope that he said nasty things to had these brown and black malformations inside the water molecule. It's fascinating. The pictures are really interesting. And then the water he spoke love to were like beautiful as snowflakes and these crystalline, gorgeous things. So why am I telling you this? Your body is 98% water. So when you're saying nasty things and you're living in anger, what do you think the molecules in your body is doing?
It's getting muddy.
It's getting muddy and it's affecting your organs. So why is forgiveness a key element? Because forgiveness is healthy and it's going to turn the molecules in your body from those nasty black ones into these light-filled ones. Now, I'm not telling you not to go to the doctor, to stop taking medication and doing what the medical industry has told you to do. Keep doing those things. But I would also advise to forgive people because that's going to help an awful lot. And I'm a cancer survivor. I believe in mixing Eastern and Western medicine because I survived stage 3 breast cancer. So how did I do it? This is how I did it. Oh, and I went through chemo and radiation and I did what the doctors told me. But I cleared and I forgave people.
Yes.
And I forgave the cancer. I forgave the chemo. I forgave the chemo chair. I forgave the building where I was, and I forgave the energy around all these things.
I completely agree with you. I think I was 26 years old when I became aware of the power of forgiveness. I was very angry, hurt, and I realized I compiled all the people or the energies collected over the years on my body, to the extent that I remember I craved sugar desperately. I consumed a lot of sugar, but my back was in pain. Getting out of bed was a scream. Somebody had to help me. Then, if I'm going to lay down, getting up, I realized that my body could not fully lay. I had this curve. No matter how much I lay down, no matter how much meditation, breathing techniques I did, my back was curved on the bed. So I would lay down, my back would just completely curved because I was in pain so much. And it just wouldn't relax to touch the bed. Then I think, like I said, 26-year-old, just before Christmas, I was in excruciating pain just going to bed. And I prayed and I said, I am too young. I am 26 years old, but my body, at least from what I'm experiencing, I believe it felt like I'm 96.
Yeah. Your body probably was 96 at the time. 100%.
Yeah. So I said, this is, I can't live like this. And
Right.
I want to live. I want to enjoy this life, this opportunity, this present, this place, this earth school. How am I going to learn and use what I learned to do what I came here to do? I cannot do this. I need a different story. I don't know what to do, but this can't be it.
Right. Don't die until you're dead, right?
Yes. So then I prayed that and I said, something's gonna give. I don't know what, but something's gonna give. And then I went to bed. I remember when I went to bed crying, drained and crying. And then I had this powerful dream. This dream surprised me because it's like I entered this sanctuary or this room and there was a light being standing there. And I approached it. And when I approached it, this light being, it was like pretty huge and it had a masculine energy. So then when I went there and then I heard the words, my yoke is light. Give me what you're carrying. Your body can't carry this. Give it to me. Release this. Forgive this. For I can carry it. My yoke is light. And I was like, what? And he
How
kept
beautiful
saying,
that is.
he kept saying it, and his hands were extended towards me, right in front of him. And he said, my yoke is light. Release this and give this to me, for I can carry it. You can't. It's breaking your body.
It's breaking your back.
Yes. And it's too heavy for you.
Yep.
It feels to you as though you're carrying the weight of the world on you. Release it. Give it to me. Let it go. So I walked closer and I just looked at this light being. It's like I got closer and closer and I just melted in his arm and just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. So much that I could feel like it was this, I don't know how to explain the sensation, but it felt like something was just releasing towards the ground.
You were releasing all the anger energy through your tears. That's a lot of people do process by crying.
Yeah. So then I just let go. And this release, then I kept hearing, release, let go. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. So it just resonated in me. And then I woke up. And when I woke up, I touched my gut, my belly. And then when I touched it, there was to me, I felt a strange sensation as though what had happened was connected to my belly button. I don't know how to explain that, but it felt like I felt something in my gut. And I was like, it felt so real.
It was real.
Yeah. So then I just looked around me. I tried to get out of bed. I didn't call my brother to come and help me. And I got out of bed. And he kind of went about his business, almost forgetting that normally I call for help to get me out of bed. Then I went to take my shower. I was like, okay, let me do my little stretch. It felt a little easier. Then I was like, okay. Then I brushed it off a little bit. But then it kept nagging at me, that dream. So I said, okay, I'll write it down. So I had an old journal and I wrote it down as fast as I could because I had to get ready for work. And then I was like, wow, that's amazing. Then 2 days later, I realized I'm feeling a whole lot lighter. I'm smiling more and I'm not making a lot of noise when I'm moving to do things around. The pain and then a week later, I called my father and I was like, Dad, I've decided to forgive A, B, C, D, and this and this and this and this and this. Then he's like, what? What brought this up? I said, Dad, I realized I was giving too much power to this. Every time I talked about that situation or thought about that situation, my shoulders would be up like this.
Yeah.
My ears would feel strange. My back, my upper back would start hurting. Then it feels like a rock. Then my lower back locks up. And then my voice would change. My voice would change to a high pitched, almost whining voice. And I said, Dad, there was something wrong with the way I kept holding on to that. I felt like it was sucking the breath out of me. Then he
Right.
said, what? How did you? And I was like, Dad, I realized this is not what I want my life to be. So I decided to release this because it's hurting me. It's hurting my body. I want to let it go. And he's like, how? And so I told him the dream, and he said, that's amazing. And I said, I decided to start forgiving and just forgive and move on. I'm giving too much to this. It's taking too much of me. Then he said, wow, that's amazing. And I said, Dad, I want to be free. Then he said, okay, I really appreciate you telling me this. And I said, I'm not telling you to go and tell the people. It doesn't matter, but it's me and it's for
Right.
me and it's mine. Then he's like, okay. And I said, yes, it's mine. Then he said, when you say the way you said it's mine, you took complete ownership. And I said, yes, because it's mine. Then he said, okay. Then he said, okay, I won't question that. It's yours. And it's the most powerful thing that came to me. And I recognized, wow, forgiveness has that power. But even that, I was just understanding, just forgive, 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 forgive. But I never sat down to look through or even plan how. So your plan and your teaching is powerful because it gives people a step by step, real, tangible,
Yep.
doable
It's a
step.
process. See, forgiveness allowed you to lose the anger and become the person you came to this planet to be. You
Yes.
can't be your authentic self. Everybody on the planet is here for a reason.
Yes.
And many of us know what our reason is. Some of us don't. But you're not going to be that person that you came down here to be if you're angry and you're so inner focused. It's just not going to happen because you're going to be focused on the anger.
Yes. Yes. And that's the power.
That's the power.
That's the power because
What a
I
beautiful
hear
story.
people, oh, thank you. I hear a lot of people say, but if I forgive them, it's like I'm saying it's okay that what
No,
they
it's
did
not.
is
No,
right.
it's not.
Whew,
You're forgiving
Jesus.
them so you can get them out of your head. It doesn't mean they were right. It doesn't mean anything. It means you want them out of your head. When you go on Facebook and you see their name, you want neutrality. You don't want to be happy, you don't want to be sad. You just don't really want to care. And then I get
Yes.
people who say, "Well, then if I forgive, that means I have to regurgitate, to use a horrible word, all of my childhood. And I don't want to go back there." Okay, that's fair. I'm asking you to go back one more time to clear all the stuff in your past so you never have to go back there again.
Yes.
I grew up in a dysfunctional house. I
Mhm.
look back at my past now and I can see the love is there. I can tell some of those stories that I
Yes.
used to tell, but there's no emotional charge behind them anymore.
Yes.
I can tell it. I can meet my relatives. We can talk about the past and I'm not getting angry anymore. It's neutral. I literally don't care. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for neutrality, that you can look back at your past, pick out the love that was there, and the rest of
Yes.
it, it's like somebody else's life. You're just kind of watching it like you would a
Hmm.
movie, and you don't
Hmm.
care. That's
Hmm.
what I'm looking for, and that's the freedom that this book offers.
I love this because this book truly, it's a real how to, because the magic word is you don't care. And
You
when
don't care.
you see them, hey, how are you? And walk away.
You know, everybody goes on Facebook and you see your childhood bully. And come
Ah,
on, everybody does this. Don't lie. Everybody does this. And you look at them and you see the bully broke their leg, and you're like, karma. You're not exactly upset about it.
you're right.
And you're kind of thinking, well, they kind of deserved that, didn't they? And you know it's wrong to say it, but it comes out of your mouth or it goes into your head. Everybody says it. But if you use
Yes.
my method and forgive these bullies, you can
Mhm.
see that same bully, see they broke their leg, and you're not going to care.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for neutrality. I'm looking for, I can see your name and there's no emotional charge behind
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Mhm.
That's what I want.
Mhm.
Now they're out of your head and they're not living in there anymore. And now you can pay attention to stuff that you want to pay attention to. You don't have to think about it all the time. You don't have to see the color purple and immediately say, oh, and boom, your brain goes right back. Or
Yes.
smell a smell, an apple pie. Oh, well, I got beaten in the kitchen once. There was an apple pie. Okay, forgive the apple pie, forgive the smell, forgive the kitchen.
Yes. Yes.
If you can't forgive your number 10s, pull other stuff out of the dumpster. Now, this is the first book of 3. The next book will deal more with how to forgive yourself. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
If you are the
That's a
number
huge
10,
one.
how do you forgive yourself? Possibly the hardest person to forgive is yourself.
Yes.
My answer is the same as anything. Pick out memories, easy ones that you can do, and baby steps. And eventually you'll be able to forgive yourself. But pick out things around the memory, whatever it is you did.
I love forgiveness. Honestly, it's powerful because I call it the gate opener.
It is. It's the gateway.
Yeah. This is the power that's been given to you,
Right.
and it's through your will. So when it becomes your truth, you're unstoppable.
Now, one little thing, when you start to forgive, you're going to start to change.
Yes.
And in science, they call it vibration. Everything on the planet vibrates. So you're going to start vibrating differently, which may irritate the people you live with, which might be very entertaining, depending upon how you look at it. If you're living with your number 10, your unforgivable person, with all the fiber in my heart and all the love I can give you, my first choice is to please move and find another place to live. That's my first choice. Yeah. If you can't move, then just understand as you get healthier, they're losing the person they're used to. They're used to using you as a punching bag. They're used to you being angry. And all of a sudden you're not anymore and they don't know what to do about it.
Yes.
Right? So surround yourself with people who are positive. Go out and watch this blog, go out and find other things that you can watch and other people you can hang with to kind of mitigate the time you have to spend with this hater. Right?
Yes.
That's, it's not easy if you're living with somebody who is your number 10. It's not easy.
Yes. And that's what I was going to ask you. This question: how does a child begin to forgive a parent who has
I had to forgive
unspeakable, painful?
I had to. It is really, 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 really hard. 2 ways I did it.
You have to deal with them.
Yeah, it's hard. It helped that both my parents had passed away by the time that I did this. And yes, you can forgive dead people. Let's just make that clear. Absolutely. Where they are or aren't is completely immaterial. It doesn't matter where they are because it's not like AA. I have great respect for recovery programs. Went through one myself. And they ask you to make amends and reach out and make amends. Okay, in my world, you don't have to. Take that stress off the table. Do this in the privacy of your own home. Nobody has to know.
Yes.
Be all by yourself. You don't have to tell a living soul. You don't have to reach out to these people. It doesn't matter because you don't want a relationship with them. And you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. So where they are doesn't matter because it's all you, right? Yes. But to forgive my parents, I'm not a particularly, full disclosure, religious person, but I did go to grammar school in New York City, and I
Mhm.
did have to read the Bible. There is a passage in the Bible that got me to forgive my parents, to be honest.
Mm.
Jesus is nailed up in the cross, and he says, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." What he meant was, if somebody is 5 years old and they haven't learned algebra, I can't get mad at that because they haven't learned it yet. My parents did the best they could with the tools they had at the time. Was it good enough? Absolutely not. But they did the best they could. And
Mhm.
through a few more mental gymnastics in my mind, I was finally able to forgive my parents. But
Mhm.
it took a very long time. It did not happen overnight. Forgiveness is like an onion, and you peel back a few layers and you
Yes.
forgive. Then,
Mhm.
in this part of my system, is I want you to check in with your body. Are you still
Yeah.
mad? How? Rate it from 1 to 10. If you're still mad, okay, wait 24 hours, go back in and try again. It may take a couple weeks, couple months. It may take
Mhm.
some passes before you're finally able to get that 10 down to a 6, down to a 3, down to a 1, and you can toss it.
Yes.
It's going to take a bunch of rounds, and as you uncover memories, you're going to be forgiving the memories. You're going to be forgiving the energy, and you'll be forgiving these layers of the onion. This is why your number 10s are last,
Yeah.
because it's going to take a minute.
Yes. Yes. And I agree because the number tens is heavier because sometimes it brings up a lot of gut wrenching emotions.
Sure, it does. Brings back memories that are just horrific.
Yes.
So you
And
forgive the memory and the energy in that memory so it doesn't hold as much power over you.
yes, yes, because I think it also goes to the saying, you are as sick as your secret.
That's right.
Because when you hold on and it's embedded in that private place, you feel like I'm the only one who can nurse it, who can see it for what it is.
That's right.
Nobody else can. It erodes at you.
It does. You know, in the Bible it says, "Yea, through I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I feel no evil." Okay, let's examine that. He doesn't say go to the hotel and book a room. He doesn't say go to a restaurant in the valley and stay a while. Have some coffee. No, he does not say any of that. He says walk through
No.
the darn place. Don't stop.
Yes.
Forgiveness is going to allow you to walk through it and get to the other side.
Yes. Because the other side, strangely enough, even though we don't know what is on the other side,
That's right.
but it's worth walking through. I have a friend who said this to me. I don't know anything else. This is all my life has
It's your
been.
story. It's scary to lose your story. Who are you going to be if
Yes,
I lose the story? Who am I?
yes,
Very tough.
and that's the thing. The friend said, "So wait, so if I forgive, I feel like I let them off the hook. Number one, and number
Yep.
two, it feels like, what am I gonna? How is that gonna be? It's scary. I don't know what who I'm gonna be because I've been this. I've lived with this. What do you say to someone who believes their entire identity has been defined by this anger or this holding on, this resentment, this grudge or this pain they've gone through and trauma they've gone through to define them? And then you're speaking, yeah, but let's look at all these things. How do you get someone who has gone through all that and feel it is their life to start embracing the fact that there is something else? How do you do that?
They've been that story for so long. They're wearing it like a badge of courage. I did it for years, and I was
Yes.
my story. And look at me, I'm a survivor, and I got through all this stuff, and I paraded it around like I was in a parade.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very scary. If I lose my story, who am I going to be? But that's the thing. Once you lose that story, once you forgive that person, everybody around you is actually going to think of you as even more courageous than you were before. Because
Yes.
not only were you able to toss all of that hardship and all of that
Yes.
pain, but now you're living your best life. You're living in love. You're laughing. You've forgiven them. It's an incredible feeling. And you're sharing your story to help people as opposed to reliving all the pain, because you can tell the stories now in neutrality.
Yes.
So by losing the story, it doesn't mean the person was right. And in fact, if the person is in your life and they've seen that, you're acting differently, they don't know you've forgiven them. You don't have to reach out to them. You did it in your bedroom. Nobody has to know, but they're going to see somebody different. They're going to see somebody strong. They're going to see somebody who isn't crying all the time, who isn't using food anymore. They're losing weight. They're not trying to eat that ice cream to make themselves feel better. They're not really reaching for the Scotch bottle. Why? Yeah. Because they're feeling better. And that person you're mad at is going to be looking at them and say, wow, look how great they are. Look how strong they are. Yes. Look at what they came through, and they came through the other side, and they're laughing and they're living in love.
Yes.
So they're going to look at you with envy and pride. They're not pride if they're family. They're going to be looking at you and say, wow, I'd love some of that. How did you do it? And you can either tell them or not. It's up to you.
That's true. That's very true, because
you're going to live the life you were meant to lead from the beginning. You weren't meant to live in poverty. You weren't meant to live in hate and fear. This is not your natural state.
No,
your natural state is to live in prosperity, to live in love, and to live in joy. I ask people all the time, what brings you joy? And I can't tell you, 8 out of 10 people do not answer my question. Yeah, and I'm not talking about happiness. Happiness is fleeting. You could be happy with a hot fudge sundae. Hey,
yes.
And while I'm eating that, I was like, wow, this is good, right? I love this. I'm happy. This is bringing me joy. Joy is permanent. I want you to live in joy. In other words, I want you to string together 100 happy moments, and that would lead you to joy. But you're not going to be able to do that if you're living in anger. And trust me, you don't have to tell anybody you've done this. You're just going to start looking better to people, and they're going to wonder why. And as I said, start with the easy ones and work your way up to the hard ones. And by the time you get to your 5s, your 6, and your 7s, you're going to start to feel better. You're going to start to understand the process, and you're going to be making yourself ready to finally make a couple passes at the 10. You might only get it down to a 9. That's fine. I don't care. Just you could make a couple passes. And if you can never forgive the number 10, well, you can forgive other things within the memory. And that might be just what it takes, and to lose it, and you're golden.
I love that, because as they start, you just mentioned, they take the step.
Baby steps, baby.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
And the powerful thing, each step you take, you actually see the progress.
Sure, you're going to feel better.
Yes. And that's what, and I hear, but it's hard. It is so hard. You have no idea how hard it is.
Yeah, I do. Let me tell you a story about the power of forgiveness. This is a true story. I sat down and decided I wanted to forgive one of my number ones. And it was somebody I went to school with years and years ago, way back when dinosaurs roamed, and we were close. And I thought, I can forgive this person. Couldn't even remember why we were mad. So I did. I sat and I forgave them. And I forgave the energy. And there's a whole little mantra in the book. You don't have to dance. You don't have to burn any censers or anything like that. It's a very simple little poem. And I forgave this person. And I imagined this person was in front of my bed. And I said what I needed to say. And I would watch them walk off. I forgave them. I was done. I felt a little lift in my shoulders. Good. I hadn't talked to this person in maybe 40 years. Seriously.
Wow.
2 hours later, she calls me up on the phone.
Oh my.
And I almost fell out of my chair. And I'm a concierge trainer by trade. So I put on my concierge clothes, and we said the appropriate things, and all these kinds of things. But I'm also a very curious little bear. And I said, I'm thrilled that you called me after all these years, but I have to know why. Today of all days, did you call me? She said, it was the darndest thing. A figurine you gave me in school flew off my shelf and landed in the middle of my room.
Oh my goodness.
And I figured I should give you a call.
Wow.
And it happened 2 hours before she called, just when I was forgiving her. We were 700 miles away. So if forgiveness energy has the power to move a figurine 700 miles away, what do you think it's doing inside of your body?
Powerful.
What do you think
I
it's doing to the
love that
water
image.
molecules within your body? This is
It goes
powerful,
out.
powerful stuff. Another reason why I want you to do it at night before you go to bed.
Yes, yes. And
But
it's
please, before you do it, I also would love you to write down the 3 things you're most grateful for that day. It could be, it was a beautiful day and I had a hot cup of coffee. It could
yes.
be, I woke up this morning and that was the only
Mhm.
good thing you could find. That's fine. I
Mhm.
want you to write down whatever you can and then pick, and then you're going to already have your list written, right? And then
Yes.
start forgiving 10 people at a time.
I love it. I love
You
it. I
can't
love
get
it.
through 10, do 3.
Now I'm going to add more because I do my gratitude journal every night. I write at least 3 to 5. But now I'm going to add this piece to it because probably, the daily stuff where you run into people. So I can do
Sure.
those two, those ones and add to do the forgiveness part and then release that and become that person
The person
who,
who cut you off when you were
yeah,
trying to change lanes on I-95 the other day, you can forgive that person. They're a level 1. Easy to forgive that person. They
yes,
probably were late to work. They didn't even pay attention to you, probably didn't even see you. You can
no,
forgive that person.
no, no. And then, of course, sometimes I'm in traffic and I'm notorious for this. I'm in traffic, driving just fine, speed limits, everything is going right. And somebody comes behind me, literally almost gets to my bumper. And they
Yeah, I
start
hate that.
blinking.
Mhm.
It takes everything. And I'm like, wait,
I'm with you.
there's a car in front of me. I can't do anything else. And then sometimes they then move to my side, move out of lane, goes beside me, and then there's a little space. They want to get in front of me.
Sure.
So usually I slow down because I'm like, I'm not going to try and compete. Do
Now,
you?
if you're an inch off my bumper, I'm going the speed limit. I'm not trying to piss
Exactly.
you
I'm not
off,
doing
but
anything.
if it says 25, baby, I'm going
Yeah.
25 just because I want to irritate the crap out of you.
I do that too. And then immediately he gets in front of me. So I slow down. Go
Mhm.
ahead. They get there. Oh, I kid you not. This is classic. They get there, and then by the time we get to the traffic light, guess what? We are both standing at the red light
You got there
waiting.
at the same time. Yeah.
So then I usually, and I'm guilty of this, I will start laughing. I will start laughing and clapping, and I'm like, really? I guess we're still going the same way. And then I just say that to myself in the car.
That person needs my book. They got anger issues.
Woo! Because, oh, I get that. And then I'm like, okay, hey, go ahead. You want to get in front of me? How about it? And thank goodness I've matured now. Before they will show me a finger or they do something and I go back at them and my hands is in the air. Now I'm like, I don't even need it. Have a good time. And then I start laughing,
I just
because
smile at them.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
And when they do these things, and then I'm like, but I've heard of friends, they will be telling you a story how they cuss at them and then they went to cut them out, they went beside them, rolled out their window and showed them. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you did all that?
When I was training concierge customer service, and if
Mhm.
there's somebody who's really, really mad in front of you, I will become Susie Sunshine from Sunnybrook Farms. And the more angry you get, the nicer I'm going to get. And it's either going to diffuse the situation or piss
Yeah.
you off. Either
Yes.
way, I'm very entertained by it, but I never rise to it. When something like that happens, I immediately snap into my concierge suit and I become Susie Sunshine. And
Yes.
that's just how I deal with it.
Yes.
I will
Thank
be as
God.
nice as sugar to you.
Thank God for maturity, anyways, for me.
I may go out and swear after I leave the situation and scream into a pillow. I am human after all.
Yeah.
But
Or
in the
the other
moment,
thing that
I won't do that.
happens, I see them cut me off, and then a cop car
Yep.
right after, and then they
Karma.
get caught. And I'm
Karma.
like, boy, this karma came real quick.
Yeah. You know, I have been known, if you put out good, you'll get good back. If you're
Yes,
putting out bad, learn to duck, because it's going to come back at you like an Australian boomerang.
yes, yes, and yeah, because kindness begets kindness.
Hmm.
Anger begets anger. You, if
That's
you're
right.
putting it out there, and it comes, and then this is the thing that surprised me sometimes. I don't understand how this happened. Did you not see what you just participated in? It. You created that energy.
That's right.
And when it comes to forgiveness, I think people forget that when
But
they're creating the stuff that is going to make or that is going to be interpreted by the other person as something not to forgive, they both share in that energy field.
But you can forgive global things too. It doesn't have to be stuff from your personal life. If global events are making you irritate, politics or religion or whatever is irritating you, whatever topic we're talking about at the day,
Mm-hmm.
you can forgive that stuff as well and the energy around it. So
I
it's
love
not
that.
just stuff within your personal space. It
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
could be that you add to your list that you're doing every night. It could be
Yes.
that you watched the news that night and something irritated you. Add that to a list. Rate
Mm-hmm.
it. Is it a 10? Is it a 1? Could be a 5. Add it to the list.
Mm. I
Living
love
in
that.
love is a lot more fun than living in hate and fear.
Yes. And that's one thing I wanted to share the story with you. This is another forgiveness story because it seems like I solve a lot of my forgiveness issues in dreams. And
You're a dreamer.
this
That's
one,
cool.
the one I carried, the one I carried with my parents, this was very powerful because I didn't even, I don't know if I even prayed about that. I did my usual night's routines, prayer and meditation, and I went to bed. But in this dream, I saw my mother and my father, but it looks like
Mhm.
we had entered into this forest, and I could hear the crickets, the night crickets, the frogs. I could hear all that, and the ground was like dark soil and soft, but not to sink in. However, it felt cool, but not cold for you to feel like, oh, I'm cold. And I felt like we were barefoot and standing in it, so I could feel the earth. And there was moisture around, more like, if you're in a forest and at night, you could feel moisture. And all of a sudden, like I said, I saw my mother and my father, and my mother and father were facing me. And I was standing a little bit, there was a bit of a distance between us. And so they were standing next to each other, and then I'm standing um, further away from them, but it seems like I'm centered, so it looks like a triangle. And in this triangle, I noticed that between my mother and my father, there was this coil of, it looks like light blue energy that was connecting the two of them. But even though they were standing apart from each other, that was connecting them. And then between my mother, I saw that coil energy, a longer cord to my belly button. But then I saw my father also had a longer cord of this coil of
Mhm.
energy, and they both connected in my belly button. So I'm standing there, and the next thing I'm noticing and feeling, I feel this like this is an energy they were pouring into me. And then I heard, we've always loved you. We love you. We never stop. You're not someone that we could ever stop loving. We are always connected and we will always love you. We never stopped. You were always loved. And I just kept hearing that love pouring to me from both of them. And I just kept absorbing it. And it felt like my confidence level was rising. That's the only way I could explain it. Then I saw stairs, but these stairs led from the ground to the stars. So I saw it and I was like, can I climb it? They were like, yeah, go ahead, it's yours. And so in my head, but all this is happening by telepathically. Yeah, every communication is happening telepathically. So I asked them, Are you sure? They said, yeah, go ahead. It's yours. Take it. So I started climbing the steps. And I kept looking back to see if they were still there. They said, we would always be here. Go. So I kept climbing. I got to the middle and I looked and they were smaller. And the coil was still connected to me
Attached.
and them,
Mhm.
attached. And then they were like, go ahead. Don't stop. Keep going. And I kept climbing and climbing. I got to the very top. And when I got to the top, I could see clouds around me. And then I looked up, then I saw stars. When I saw the stars, I looked back at them and I had my left hand up to pick up the star. And I looked back and they said, go ahead, it's yours, take it. I grabbed the star. Immediately, I woke up.
You have the coolest dreams. I'm so jealous.
I woke
That
up
is so cool.
and when I woke up, the first thing I looked was my palm. And I was like, damn, that was, excuse my language, but that was a dream. It felt so real.
Yeah.
But then I noticed something had transformative have happened to me. There was a feeling I was holding in that I wasn't enough. I wasn't lovable.
Right.
And if anyone who loved me either passed away or left me. So I was not enough and there was nothing of me to love. And that, I felt like it was lifted. I started saying, ooh, yeah, I
You
love me.
forgave that thought.
Yeah.
You can
I
forgive
love me.
thoughts, memories. Yeah, you forgave
Yeah.
it. Mm-hmm.
And so I told my dad, and he says, Schroeder, we never did stop loving you. You are a child.
Exactly.
You are loved. And I said, I don't know, but I just felt this, I don't know, this energy of abandonment. And he said, but you weren't abandoned. You were just loved. We went away, but we loved you anyways.
That's right.
And I said, a lot of things happened that made me doubt it. And he said, well, don't doubt anymore. And I said, now I don't. Now I know. And I feel it.
Sure.
And then when I went to see my mother, I spoke to her and she said, I am so sorry. When I left, I didn't leave you because I didn't want you. There were circumstances. I'm so sorry. And this was after not seeing my mother for 27 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And then when I
Yeah.
went to her, I told her this dream. She said, I'm sorry. And I said, Mom, you know the funniest thing? I forgave you. I forgave you already. You don't need to apologize. She said, but I feel I need to. I need to let you know. And I said, it's okay, Mom. You're here now. I love you. We're just going to have to learn each other now and create a new relationship.
Yeah. The past
And
is done. So all you
it's
have is the right
incredible.
now.
Yeah, it's incredible. And now
Start
the
fresh.
bond I have with my mother is powerful. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I want everybody to have this feeling.
That's right. And everybody can have that feeling.
Yes.
It's a process.
Yes. Yes. And I can't wait. I've got a list in my head already of how many people that I'll get this book for and recommend to people, clients and all, and friends, because I keep getting this question, how? And
Yeah.
now I am so grateful you put this together.
That's
Now
what
I'm
I
gonna
wanted to know. I mean, I'll do it, but how? And then there was the little bug in my head that the people would say you need to forgive. And in my head, I'd say, I don't want to.
yes.
I don't want to. Bottom line, you can tell me
Yes.
everything in the world, but I don't want to. They weren't right, and I'm mad. I want to be mad. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
I
let's start with
completely
the easy
agree.
ones because the I don't want tos are hard to forgive.
Yes. Yes. And I'm gonna ask you this question. This is gonna be our last question.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what you know now and the journey, and the teaching and the lessons you've come to. If you had a choice to impart knowledge, wisdom, understanding, advice to your younger self, what would that be?
I would probably tell my younger self it wasn't your fault.
Mm.
And I would probably look at them and say, you got this. Trust yourself. Trust that little bird in your shoulder. It can see farther than you can. And when your intuition tells you something, listen to it.
Yes.
Listen to it because it's usually right. Trust your intuition.
Yes. And it's so sad how often we go through stuff and then we start to
That's
neglect
right. I
our
wrote a
intuition.
book about that too, called The Little Bird on Your Shoulder. And there's so many people out there that listen to their intuition in a time of tragedy. And a friend of mine was driving. She fell asleep at the wheel and she heard wake up and turned the wheel right at the last second. So you hear that little bird on your shoulder at times of stress like that.
Yeah.
But I say you should listen to it all the time
All the time.
because
Yes.
that's
All
how
the time.
I've accomplished everything in my life. It's because I'm a really good listener.
Isn't that powerful? And I like how you put it. You're a good listener.
I'm a good listener.
Yes, it's listening to the directions of what is being used to guide you.
Right.
And as it's guiding you, it's powerful how now you become that person that facilitates
Took a minute.
others, facilitate others to start moving towards what can actually and is the truth that can free them from what the burden. And I hear people say, every time I hear people do the forgiveness work, they say, I feel lighter. I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
hear
I'm
that too.
taller.
And it's weird that you feel lighter and you haven't lost any weight, but it's like my older son says he literally feels like a weight was lifted off his shoulders. He said, I can't explain it to you. It's weird. He said.
It is weird because it's something that happens all the time. You're like, how?
He was
But
28 at the time, and he said, this is just weird. I said, yes, it is weird, but that's it. You feel lighter. Some people get sleepy. Some people, I actually feel energy right kind of in the middle of, right in my solar plexus, if you will. I kind of
yes.
feel energy move. When you truly forgive somebody, you'll know because you can feel it and you can look at their name and nothing will happen.
Yes, yes. And I think I remember there was someone I went into their space, and it's the most bizarre thing. It actually frightened me for a second. I walked into this room, this space, and I had this excruciating, pulsing pain in my spine
Yeah.
towards my
That's
towards my
that's the empath in you.
yeah towards my how do I say it? Towards my tailbone.
Mm-hmm.
It was so painful,
You were
pulsing,
feeling the
pulsing,
energy.
pulsing. And I go, I have never felt this.
You were
Oh, my
feeling
whole
the
life,
energy.
I never felt that. And then when I sat down, I was breathing slowly and shallow to try and study my breathing because when I took big breaths, it was even more painful. And I was like, what is this? How? What is going on? And I remember when that was happening, I said, just breathe, breathe, but slowly. No quick breath, like, do not do that. Just
No, in and
slow
out. Yep.
in and out. And I did that. I think it took me about 10 minutes of just focusing on the breathing. And then I relaxed. And then after the meeting, I was like, I immediately left. I walked out and I went in my car and I was like, okay, I don't know what happened. But whatever I just tapped into, it was heavy. And I sat there and I said, I don't know what it was, but I choose to release this because I don't want to take that with me. And I forgive the pain that it gave me.
Mm-hmm.
And I am whole. I kept telling myself, I'm whole, I'm whole, I'm whole, I'm whole, I'm whole. That whole day became a mantra for me. And then I started drinking more and more fluids to release what it was. And then I was good. And then last year there was some stuff I realized I still had some things to forgive, and they were heavy. And then I spoke to someone, and we were doing the forgiveness work. We talked about it. It took 5 sessions. And then I realized the first session, I kid you not, it was so, I think a lot of energy left me that day. When we finished, I went to bed to take a nap in the middle of the day. Thank goodness I didn't have any clients that day. I went to sleep for 4 hours.
Yeah, your body was healing itself.
I was stunned. And so my friend said, Shorta, I love how you get surprised by these things. You still get surprised. And I said, I know. He said, you're like a child. You've been doing this and dealing with this for so long. Why do you keep getting surprised? And I said, because I'm amazed.
You were feeling the energy. You were feeling the dark energy of the place. You were literally breathing it in and feeling that dark energy. I can go, I'm very sensitive to energy, and I can walk into a room, and if I can feel if it's off. And if it's off, that's telling me A, somebody in there is probably not who they say they are, or B, leave virtually immediately. If it's really off, I won't stay. I will literally walk out. But before I walk out, I will look at who was there. I'll look at where I was. I'll pay attention to whoever was there, and often will write it down to kind of meditate on later, because I love to know the hows and the whys. But that's because you're sensitive to energy. I can also walk into a place that it feels like heaven, and the energy is absolutely gorgeous. So I want to stay.
Yes, yeah. Well, I'm so glad you're here, and we need you to come back. I think this is
Anytime.
important. Forgiveness is such a powerful message. Well, you already know in the name of the podcast, because I believe for sure. Remember your love. Remember your whole. Remember whose you are, and the fact that we are loved. Then start to do the work, forgiveness, bit by bit, because as we do it, it opens up to the next level. This is where the fun is. This is how we begin to live the life that we are meant to live, to do our life work. The lessons we've learned in this earth school, this is where we put it all together, the practicum. And the interesting part of the joy that goes with it, and knowing that we are operating in our purpose and in our calling. There's nothing better than that. And forgiveness is the most powerful tool to give you that power back. Thank you so much for coming. And I want you back. How would people get into contact with you?
They can go to my website, and my first name is spelled very strangely, thanks to my mother. Katharine Giovanni.com. You can also go to Amazon. The book is on Amazon. I also have the audio book available for anybody who really doesn't
Good.
like to read. So there's
Yes.
the ebook, the audiobook, and the paperback are all available to you on Amazon and my website.
Terrific. Thank you so much. And please do come back. And I love your book. I can't wait to start giving them to family. This Christmas is definitely going to be on everybody's list, young and old, for them to understand that. This is because I'm passionate, I'm very passionate about forgiveness. So, and of course, my sister, I'm proud to call you one, and know that we galvanize together in this work to teach and learn at the same time, to free our brothers and sisters and let them know you don't have to sit in that pain. You don't
No.
have to sit in the filth. You don't have to sit with a chain. You don't have to sit with a prison door chained to you and dragging it everywhere. Because that's how we take baggage from one relationship to the other. And then we start crucifying and penalizing those that we are with presently as though they were the ones who did what you experienced in the past. I thank you, and I can't wait to see you back. That's one thing I want everybody to understand. You are loved, and forgiveness is your key to open that door to the powerful gateway to your freedom. And of course, live the life you're meant to live here. Enjoy it. Hold on to this passionate life and live it with everything you got, because that's what you came here for. And to write your story and know that you're not alone. Thanks for joining me on Love, Forgive, Live podcast. Those who want to reach me, you can reach me, email me at LUV, the number 4, give, GIVE, LIVE, live at gmail.com. My name is Rhoda. Thank you. Contact me if you need more information about Miss Katharine, and go get her book. Thank you.